Good evening and welcome to the Formula Racing League. Round 3 of the ESSA28 Endurance Team Series takes us to Mount Panorama, Bathurst, Australia. I'm Tom Cairns in the commentary position and we will provide you all the information you need to know and the updates in terms of tonight's action, as it's the penultimate round of this 4-round championship. We started off at Imola and Donington. Tonight is Mount Panorama, and then the season finale, which will be a 4-hour endurance event in a couple of weeks' time at Spa. For now though, it's Mount Panorama. We are seeing drivers on circuit gain as much mileage in as possible. We are expecting 25 cars here tonight, which are all in the lobby as we speak, which is good news. In terms of what happened last time out at Donington, it was a convincing victory for the High Octane Racing team. Tom Bellarmine and his teammate, as I get the list of names up. Frenchman, it was a couple of Frenchmen, I think, within the team. So I'm just having a look. No, it's a Frenchman and the man from Czech Republic. Tom Bellarmine and Wojtek Bujta were the drivers that came out on top for the High Octane Racing team. Hoping to continue that into this evening. And they're setting the pace so far with a 2 minutes 2.3. Now, for those of you who are new to this series, it's essentially 15 minutes of qualifying and then a 3-hour endurance event. Now, each team will have 2 drivers at the wheel, so each car is shared between 2 drivers throughout the whole race. Neither driver can do more than 95 minutes each. In terms of how they strategize stints, in terms of who does what, that is up to them. But they can't do any more than 95 minutes each. So you would have to expect the faster drivers to go out in qualifying in the cars that they're in, because there's only 15 minutes or so. See more in the race as it folds. In case you're wondering, what time will it be for the race start? Well, the time of the race, which is, well, it's been put down to 5 AM in terms of the race start time on the circuit for practice. 6 AM for qualifying. I think 6 AM for qualifying. Let me just double check. No, 7 AM for qualifying. It was 6 AM for practice, 7 AM for qualifying, and then the time of the race start is 5 AM. In terms of the multiplier, it's as you would expect in real life. So it'll start at night, then sunrise, and then into the day. In regards to the time as they're doing their laps, it's currently around about 50 minutes past 6, so about 10 to 7 over at the circuit. So we expect qualifying to get going at 7 AM in similar conditions to what you are seeing now. Will Freeman in the number 208 Mercedes AMG for the French Connection team. Now, in terms of which team is in the lead overall, that's the SBR for ESSA28 squad, including Ben Milden and Sean Cull, both of which will be joining me in the commentary position shortly after the race is finished. And talking of which of that, I'm just going to set up the party now, so bear with me one moment and I'll get back to the action. Welcome back. Apologies for that. But we are in the middle of practice. We're coming to the final 10 minutes of practice here at Mount Panorama. 6.2 kilometres. This racetrack. Around for a long time. Since 1938 this circuit was opened. Go for a lap with a particular driver in a moment. We've got the number 3 of Bellarmine, part of the high octane racing team that won out last time out in Donington. Go to them if I can get over to the right driver, if it allows me to do that. Bellarmine's come back into the pit lane, so my apologies for that. I want to go to the 89 if we can. Bear with me one moment. This is Nick London for the Lettuce Swap team. Go for a lap of this racetrack then of Mount Panorama. So coming onto the pit straight, lines the car at fine. Up to 4th gear before turn 1. Look at the brake marker boards. Brakes before the 50 metre board, just after the 100, I think. And then up through the gears into 2nd and 3rd. And this is a long back straight called the Mountain Straight. Undulating part of the racetrack as well. Up to 250 kilometers an hour before you brake down to 2nd. Slowly down to 130 kilometers an hour before you apply the throttle once more. And this is the cut-in that is the next braking point of the lap. 2nd gear. Nail the apex. Position the car very well because there's a sequence of corners coming up, including this one. It's Quarry Corner. And through the pinks of left-handers, where you eventually approach Skyline. See the sun in the background. I don't know how much that's going to impair a driver's throughout qualifying or the race later on. It's down through Skyline and through the Dipper. Taking it very carefully through this next session. There's a lot of blind corners on this racetrack as well, especially. And through Forest Elbow. Coming down to the next back straight, which is the Comrod Straight. Up to 6th gear. There's a little bit of tarmac on the outside as he approaches the kink, leading through the chase. Down to 2nd gear, 100 kilometers an hour before go back on the power again. This is the 23rd and last corner of the circuit, Murray's Corner. And down to 85 kilometers an hour before you go back on the power. The finish line is very close, and that completes the lap of the Mount Panorama circuit in Bathurst. A solid lap there from Nick, so hats off to him for taking the opportunity to allow that to happen. And he's just collided with the number 68. I'm not sure what that is all about. It's coming together with Farclub Babizzle. I think what he tried to do was just park off the racetrack, but didn't notice that Babizzle was actually coming out of the pits, so Babizzle won't be too happy with Nick's driving standards there. It's just practice, so there's no points for practice or for qualifying. It's the race that matters most. So you get 80 points for a win, 78 for second, 76 for second, 72 for third. It's a 4-point difference between each position down to 11th. From 11th works out down from there, really. It says there's 35 points for 13th, but I would have thought it'd be 36, unless I'm mistaken. If you have joined us, we do welcome you. To Janice, who's tuned in. Good evening to Ben as well. Four minutes to go in this practice session. Bellum set the pace. Head of Vorkel in the VRL Racing Czechoslovakia squad. Czech Republic and Slovakia. Czechoslovakia is not a country anymore. My apologies, but I'm sure they'll understand where I'm coming from with that. Lewis Robinson is in P8 for the FRL admin team. They had a torrid time at Donington. They had connection issues by the sounds of it. Know who your money is on, and feel free to get involved in the live chat so wish to do. Subscribed already, do make sure you do that. Got to say, with all the Formula Racing League action as it is happening, the Taco Tuesday series, that is the midway point of the season, on its latest round at Snetterton, and the next round will be at Silverstone this Tuesday coming. And coming round. Go at least, unless he decides to come back in. No, he stays out there for the time being. Starts another lap, hoping make up for the disaster of Donington. Saw the FRL admin team miss out horribly, but they finished a lowly 25th position. Did Lewis Robinson and his teammate Mark Conway on that day. A lot of points are on offer, so anything can happen here. Flame Racing will be hoping to bounce back after the shenanigans at Imola, where they had connection issues which robbed them of potentially going for the win. Been playing catch up, hence why got that result. Time out at Donington. We're on 91 points at the moment, 61 off the top, so if they can get a repeat of their result, that will maximise their chances of title, depending on how the SBR for ESSA28 squad get on at the same time. I'll tell you that Ben Milden and Sean Cole, just looking at where the SBR team are, they're currently in P7. Sean Cole has set that time, at least he has anyway. Last 30 seconds of practice, and is coming round. Start one more lap. this weekend. Let me know what your plans are. On the motorsport front anyway, there's the IndyCar event that's happening at Indianapolis. It's not the Indy 500 that's taking place, it's the GMR Grand Prix on the road course. Doesn't happen until a week's time. Actually on the weekend of the Monaco Grand Prix. GMR Grand Prix on the road course at Indianapolis this weekend. Next weekend we've got a whole heap of motor racing action, including Formula 1, who are racing at Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. They will be racing there, as will F3, as will the Porsche Supercar. That will be kicking off its 2023 campaign there. So the likes of Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, who are competing in Barcelona. Qualifying is underway now. 17 minutes of qualifying. I think we've got the extra 2 minutes because of how long the track actually is. So the drivers will be making the most of that. I was going to mention the F1 Academy because they've done a couple of rounds recently. First one at the Red Bull Ring and the second last weekend in Valencia, and they'll also be competing in Barcelona next weekend as well, so that's another one to put in your diary. Those of you who like your sports car racing, I was going to say, we've had 3 rounds of the championship done so far. The next one is not until June. Be, of course, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Very exciting event. I've sort of browsed through a little bit in terms of how many cars are competing there, and there's quite a number of hypercars competing at the 24 Hours of Le Mans this year. It's very, very exciting indeed. Last few years we haven't had that many hypercars. I think last year we had 2 Toyota Gazoo racing cars, 1 from Alpine and 2 Glickenhaus Racing machines, which totaled only 5 hypercars in last year's famous event at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Drivers have begun fast their laps now. This is number 47 Aston Martin. Of Jan Blims, Germany. Scuderia ORC squad. It's coming round Marie Park now, and he'll be approaching downhill through Skyline. Section of which Nick Landon showed us earlier through. Downhill again into Forest Elbow, the Conrod Straight. Expect to see a few overtakes through here. Slipstream effects can be massive. chase. Comes. In the final corner, which is Murray's corner, we expect this time to probably be around about 2:04. 2:03.6 for Blims, so he's done a super job actually, given it's his first lap. Volkel goes nearly 8/10 faster with a 2:02.8, and it's Adam Anderson for the T1 SRC squad was in third place when he set that time, but he's gone down to 5th. That is Thomas Fonchacek for the Virtual Racing League team, going up to P2 in the number 77 Mercedes AMG. John Cole only 5th so far for the SBR team. We've got Craig Law going to the top for the French connection. All 10's clear of VRL Racing. All to play for so far. And looking further down, Armin Oldor is up to 4th for Race Nation. Ray Thomas 7th for the Super Harch Racing team. I think Demian van der Waal is in the car with Ray tonight because Stuart Hodgson is apparently not around. To Will as well, who's tuned in. So we've got the number 21 crossing over the line now as well, which is Boucher for African Thunder Squad in the number 21 BMW. Goes 17th fastest, 6 seconds off the pace. Still all to play for. Barclay Pavisel, number 68 Aston Martin. He's going over the line too. And he goes up to 18th place. Some work to do for him. That is Musty Ben from Morocco. Box for Hard Motorsport team, competes alongside Lucas Schmitz. Box for Hard Motorsport team competed at Imola but didn't at Donington last time out. It's the 423 Porsche of Charlie Smith from Canada alongside Tristan Wilson from Singapore. Tom Bellarmine for High Octane Racing, right behind the Mercedes AMG. Oh, he's gone off circuit though, so that's that lap in the bin. Oh, he's going to be he nearly collected the 29 that went off track. Bellarmine will have to go again. Time on the board. Now it's an endurance event. I don't think in terms of where you qualify matters too much, because if you know you're out of position, you know that you're probably going to get through the field quick enough anyway. Whether it's the driver that starts in the race in the car, or the driver he swaps with later on. They swap with later on. Sean Cole in the number 128 Bentley, in P6 at the present moment. .415 BMW of Arkadiusz Michalka alongside Robert Berger. They are a reserve team tonight. It's their first appearance this season, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. Just trying to remember where they finished. No, it's not their first appearance, it's their second one. They finished in 12th position at Imola. It's a really solid result for them, thinking about it. So far, I think Vorkel's gone over the line to go to 3rd place. Vonchacek is 2nd. But it's Craig Law who still sets the pace. 2.4. Heading over the line now. Is this going to be an improvement from before? The answer to that question is no. Dory coming through as well. And he goes up to 4th place. He managed to improve by 0.4 of a second. He moves on to the second row of the grid. Number 52 coming through. Now that's Ray Thomas in the number 52 BMW for Super Hutch Racing. And he moves up the order to 9th place. 214 crossing over the line. That's Lewis Robinson. And he goes up to 6th. Improving all the time. Number 100 of Van Lyshout for Team Lowlands. 19 cars have set a time so far. Bellarmine on the Conrad straight now. He's just aiming to get as much breathing space as possible before he caught up to another car ahead whilst he was on a lap. Chase, and he's got one more corner to get through now before he crosses over the line. I think he's backed off the pace so that he can get a sufficient lap. So he caught up to the back of the number 89, which is Nick Landon in the Lettuce swap. Mercedes AMG. Backs off the pace and is going to go again, but he's only got just under 7 minutes to go. All to play for at the moment. Anyone else improving? At the moment, as far as I know. Down to 8th place in the SBR. Benedetto Netto's done a reasonable job in the number 68 Aston Martin. 13th position. See Bellarmine making his way through the tricky left-handers at the top of the circuit. This is McFinley Park he's going through now. Oh, and he's dropped it. He's hit the barrier, has Bellarmine. Him with more time. Honda. Mikowski goes up to 7th place for BV Racing. It's a good effort from him. Got Naisbitt who's on a lap for T1 SRC. 16 right now, but he's coming towards the end of the lap he is on. It's in the pit entry. Approaching the line now. Where is this going to put him? Is this moving him up the order? Yep, up to 14th. Nicely done there. He's on laps. Limbs is just coming around to start a lap because he's just started another one. Now this is the number 23 BMW. Of Mianco Massa. Eight seconds off the pace. Can he reduce the deficit with this one? Not quite. 208 of Law coming into the pits. He was able to improve last time, more than 2 minutes 1.6. That should be enough to get him onto pole position. 4 minutes still to go. This is Vauxhall. FRL Racing Team in the number 99. And full second off the pace as we speak. Number 99, where are they in the championship sense? They're 6th at the moment. Zdenek Vauxhall in terms of the name. Ray Thomas has got to 4th place now for Super Hutch Racing. That's a great effort from him. Robertson coming round for FRL Admin. up the order with this time. No, we can't, unfortunately. 1:08. Lap 2. That's fresh sim racing. Driver at the wheel is Harrison Parrish. Number 108 BMW. Competing alongside Jamie Rees. Bellerman is on circuit. On a lap, but he's got a car in front of him, which is not good news. Just got out of the way in time. That was a little bit dangerous. But Bellerman copes with it fine. He'll have one more go at it. This lap not be the lap he's looking for. Pushing ever so hard though. Boris elbow. Expecting to be in the top 4 at least with this lap. The overall pace that he has set during the course of this season so far is taking fastest lap at both races. This team. Around the last corner now. Bellerman. 24 goes up to second place on the starting grid at the moment, and he's got one more go at it. Just needs to be on the lookout for cars ahead because they must surely be on laps themselves now. On to check his on the lap. Aldari has just finished the lap. I don't think that was an improvement either, but he's ahead of Volkel now, so Aldari must have improved on that last lap. So Volkel is down to 5th place. 242 of Dan Naisbitt from Wales. Hits. .47, the next driver to cross over the line. That is Blims. Blims. I don't think this is going to be improving because he ran wide towards the end of that lap, but he'll have one more go at it. Crossing over the line, that's Bianco Massa. Unfortunately, bar 415 of Mihulka. He'll be able to get over the line before the checkered flag. The 99. Bortle, who'll be the first driver to take the checkered flag. Comes then. And he goes up to 4th position. Aldari back down to 5th. Bonjacek, not able to improve. P3 it is for him. Got Bellerman who's coming through the chase now. As we've seen the last times, Ray Thomas not improving. Only in P6. Seen any more improvements, maybe slightly. Bellerman improves his time, but it's not enough for pole. Aldari won't be improving. 909 next of Jako Vanek. P19 for him. .195. I don't think it's going very quick, to be honest with you. Although Parrish is on his final attempt. Well, now should be improvement from before. 4.3 seconds off the pace. Can he reduce it? He can, but it's not enough to move him up the order, unfortunately. Now this is Schmitz, who's not set a representative time, but this is his last chance to change that. Comes. But he's backed out of that lap. So at the end of it, it's the French Connection team who will be celebrating that pole position, but that's far from job done by their point of view. Tom Bellerman for the High Octane Racing team will start second, and then it's the Virtual Racing Lead team of Thomas Vonchek in third place. Then it's the VR Racing Squad in fourth, SBR in fifth, ahead of Race Nation in sixth. It's Super Hutch and Team M&M in seventh and eighth. FRL Admin and Scuderia ORC running out the top 10. It's BV Racing and 1 second slower in P11 and 12 on the 6th row. Czech Console Racing and Letter Swap are on row 7. Then it's the Yotissi Tomcats Motorsport team alongside T1 SRC on row 8. Then we've got the Vombo Racing team alongside Team Lowlands on row 9. Vinif and Fresh Sim Racing on row 10. African Thunder and Box for Hard Motorsport on the 11th row. Blue Coyote Racing and T1 SRB are on row number 12. At the back are TC Racing and Blue Coyote Racing. See, Blue Coyote Racing have already themselves into the race. No, I don't think they have, so they just haven't got a time on the board. So if I'm correct, we've got 26 cars for the race. The race will, well, the formation lap will begin in a few minutes' time. 5 AM it is in terms of track time. So there appears to be 24 cars competing tonight in the race. Anyone that does join late will have to start from the pit lane. It's 2 poles out of 3 for the French Connection team. They'll be very happy with that. Very hard for them to convert it into the victory given how quick high octane racing usually are. 5 AM over at the track, which will become just after 8 PM. It'll be around about 5 minutes past 8 at the track. We are watching from the UK. We should be done by approximately 11:30 in the evening over here. Sick coming in and saying hi. Hello to you, sir. Will's coming with his suggestion about Bellerman's performance and saying that his car setup is tricky to handle. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks as though that the 4% or the bouncing that he was going through the S's of Skyline catching him out, or what was catching him out during quali anyway. That might be a feat during the race. The drivers have been warned in terms of driving standards as well. No dive bombing or any silly driving at the start. It's not, no, it's one. It's the first lap, but is where the race can be lost. On down on the grid. Formation that gets underway. In terms of number of laps we're going to have, probably looking at around, I would say 88 laps. Back to in the pit stops. Craig Law leads the field off the grid. Out of Hell's Corner. So The French Connection team were on pole, High Octane Racing in P2, then it's Virtual Racing League and VRL Racing in 3rd and 4th, SBR and Race Nation row 3, then Super Hutch Racing and Team Eminem on the 4th row. Then we've got FRL Admin Team and Scuderia ORC, BV Racing and 1 second slower are 11th and 12th, Czech Console Racing and Let's Swap are 13th and 14th, with the Unity Tomcats Motorsport team in 15th alongside T1 SRC. Feinberg Racing and Team Lowlands on row 9, with Finif and Freston Racing on the 10th row of the grid. African Thunder, Box for Hard Motorsport on the 11th row, and at the back we've got Blue Coyote Racing and TC Racing. Very dark, but the sky will brighten as the race develops. Quite hard to see who is who. How dark it is over there. It'll become easier. I've got the track map on the bottom right hand corner of my screen, so I can identify the car numbers to help me identify what is going on. Long race for the drivers, they know that lap 1 is not where it's decided. Short run down to turn 1 as well. I don't know how much fuel each driver will be carrying on their first stints. May see just the one change in terms of drivers swapping. We'll update you in terms of the swaps as of when they happen. There's too much information for me to go through at this moment in time. I want to focus on the race start. Will Freeman's coming saying that light will come in about 1 hour, which is no surprise because practice had begun at 6 AM. Before the light continued to raise. Craig Law back in the pack up. They'll be in their rows of 2 very shortly. Go them. In their rows of 2 now. They've just got 1 more corner. Navigate through of Murray's. Here waits the green flag for the start of round 3 of the ESSA28 Endurance Team Series in the Formula Racing League Assetto Corsa Competizione. 6.2 kilometre racetrack in Australia. Around 88 laps of racing. Here we go. The green flag raises right about now. Craig Law will be on the inside as they go into turn 1. How will Bellarmine take this one? I'd imagine he'll take it very sensibly. So the top 2 or 3 are fine. Just looking to see further back. There's a few cars going into the gravel trap. Nothing too more dramatic than that. So it's a respectable first corner from the pack. Bellarmine getting into the slipstream of Law as they come towards the right-hander uphill. Bellarmine on the outside of the French Connection car, but doesn't go through and settles in behind. He knows it's not one on the opening lap, so just needs to take it very easy. It's more about just getting into the race, getting stuck in, getting into a rhythm before you go and start chasing people. Bellarmine in second place. We've got Vonchek and Vorkel, and it's Aldori for Race Nation, Sean Cull in 6th. And then we've got Mianco Massa for TMM, Ray Thomas for Superhutch Racing in 8th. Lewis Robinson 9th. And Jan Blims for Scuderia ORC in 10th position. Cameron McCoskey's 11th for BV Racing. Got the 1 second slower car with Maholka at the wheel. And Nick Landon, I think, was one of those that ran wide at turn 1. Continued on anyway. Go past Forest Elbow and onto the Conrod Straight. Craig Law continuing to pull away at the front. Tom Bellarmine not too far back. 1.1 seconds is the gap. Hard to see through the darkness. Good challenge, alright, for the drivers. They'll cope with it. Top two are pulling away, and that's Vodka falling into the clutches of Vorkel, a little bit of Aldori and Cull as well. Up to 8, but he's in 8th place now. Sean Cull in 6th, Masters up to P7. We've got a spin at the back. Nick Landon's had a spin, unfortunately. I think the bonnet is damaged on that car, so I think it'll be an early trip to the pits for him. I go to the battle behind because it looks like Vorkel's dropped back horribly. He's had a clout with the wall. He was in 4th position before that mishap, and he's down to 6th place behind the SBR car of Sean Cull. As they go through a sequence of left-handers, this is McFinley Park that they are entering before they head down past Skyline through the Dipper. See, there's a potential change in position coming up, I think, as Aldori's under threat from Cull, who's looking to continue his consistent start to the season for the team. We've picked up 2 second places at Imola and Donington. And it looks like Cameron McCoskey's dropped back, unfortunately. He's had a really terrible second sector of this lap. Got down to 16th place. He was running in P11 or P12 earlier on. Sean Cull is holding back. In P6, but maybe not for long, because Massa is looking to make a dive up the inside into Hell's Corner. Vorkel will see this coming, or at least he should, and there's very nearly contact between the pair of them. We go on board with Massa as they head through the Mountain Straight, I think it's called. The Mountain Straight. Up, then down. A right-hander that follows. Griffin's Bend. Oh, it's a little bit too deep. And Massa just about avoids the wall. But I think that's going to open the door for Lewis Robinson to get through, though. So Massa's attempt to get past Vorkel has just cost him a position to the FRL admin car of Lewis Robinson in the BMW. With the fast stop of the race so far, there are only 2 laps done though. There's a long way to go yet. The track is at its optimum. Degrees track temperature, 14 degrees air temperature. Speed not very high, not really affecting the drivers too much, it seems. Now we've had another car in the pits. That is Charlie Smith for TC Racing in the Porsche. I don't know if this is an early swap. keep you informed if there is. Craig Law is coming out, and I think we've had someone go back into the pit lane as well. I think the number 100 of Team Lowlands have had potentially an accident on track, and that's put them in the pits. And they're not allowed to do that, I don't think, unless they're doing it to retire early on. It's very early in the race to have an accident like they have done, so that could be their race over even at this stage. Craig Law in the lead, 1.2 seconds clear of High Octane Racing. Virtual Racing League third, Race Nation fourth. It's SBR, VRL, FRL, Team M&M. Although Massa's got back ahead of Robinson now because Robinson has just been overtaken by the BMW. So he's on a fight back, he's on a mission to recover what he had lost. I mean, with the fast lap of the race as well, that would give him a point going forward. Stands. Orkle running in 5th, Sean Cull in 6th place, and we've got a 30-second stop and go penalty for the 423 of Charlie Smith for speeding in the pit lane. It's unfortunate for him. We've had Harrison Parrish come to pits also. Early stop. Up the hill, down the hill again. Exactly what he needs to do. It's a bit behind Ray Thomas, who's the 11. He's dropped back a little bit since the beginning of the race, I think. Like Team Lowlands are not back on track yet, so I think that could be all but their race over unless they decide to just get some more mileage out on the set. Oh, that's enough! That's enough! Tom Bellarmine's in the wall, and it's caused an absolute pile-up on track on the exit of McPhillamry Park. He's collected the Virtual Racing League car. Now he's at the pair of them both out. Absolute drama, and we're only on lap 5. The drive. Oh dear, dear, dear. Oh no, 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 no. Mihalka's just hit the back of Bellarmine as he was going through McPhillamry Park as well. Absolute disaster. Multiple cars involved. The Virtual Racing League car of Thomas Vondracek, innocent bystander in all of that. It was completely accidental for Bellarmine, but my goodness me. Well, that's going to give the French Connection team the breathing space they need. Absolute disaster for the 2nd and 3rd place drivers. They are in the pits and effectively out of the action. And we've had another spin involving is that the 423 on track? Oh, that's Charlie Smith who's had another spin, and looks like Naismith's had to take evasive action by going onto the grass at the chase. There's damage on the bonnet of that car. Ray Thomas is also in. He's got damage as well, presumably. There'll be some stern words, I would imagine, after the race. This just goes back to what I was saying earlier. The early parts of the race isn't where it's won, but it's where it can be lost. All Craig Law needs to do is just keep the car on circuit. Of course, there's still his teammate. He'll be in the car later on. Freeman will be in that seat. I think that's the difficulty when you're competing in the dark. Now, Jaco Vanek is also another driver in the pits. So how does that change things? Well, Bortles up to second place for VRL Racing. Sean Cole is up to third for SBR. And it's Mianco Massa for Team M&M in fourth place. Lewis Robinson in fifth for FRL Admin. Joe Blins for Scuderia RC sixth. And it's the Czech Console Racing team with Foglo Pavizl currently at the wheel in seventh. Ahmed Al-Dori for Race Nation 8th. Mihalka, despite hitting the back of Bellarmine as he was trying to go past him, is in 9th place. Calvin Makowski is in 10th for BV Racing. It might give those at the back a chance to maybe battle with some of the big guns, because they are two of the fastest cars on track. Now, I wonder if Bellarmine and Vonchacek may decide to hand over to their teammates for the next stint, because they've been waiting in the pits for some time. Because they'll be so frustrated, in agony, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they need like half an hour to just go and calm down for a bit before they return to the racetrack. On lap 7 now, Law's lead 9 seconds. Tell he's been practicing in these conditions at this time of night. And given from what Zdenek has had to say, he is not very happy. I think that could well be race over for them. I think they've left the server, so yeah, that, understandably, they have retired from the race. And High Octane Racing, well, I don't know if they will continue or whether they'll call it a night. Well, they don't have the fastest lap point any longer because VRL Racing have got that now. Though Zdenek was not actually at the wheel when his teammate Vonchacek was competing, he will be frustrated beyond belief. Borgel's got the gap down a little bit to Law to 8.5 seconds, so he's able to pull out, able to up the pace, unless Law has decided to think, do you know what, because of this lead I've got, I can afford to just take it easy for the time being, given how dark it is. There's no need to take any unnecessary risks at this point of the race. I'm sure there was no malice from Bellarmine's part, because all it was just a mistake and he hit the wall. And given it was quite a narrow part of the circuit, there was nothing that Vonchacek could do to stop his car from hitting Bellarmine as that car rejoined onto the circuit. It's just one of those things. I'm sure there'll be an apology as well from Bellarmine. Robinson up into 5th place now. that? That's just the back markers just staying out of the way. That's Ray who's just staying out of the way of the leaders who are coming through. Bortles gap to Law. It was 8.5 seconds the last time we saw. What is it by sector 2 of this lap? Oh, it's gone back up. He's lost time as Volkel. I think he got held up by Ray during the S's in the second sector. Caller's gone past. Oh! Massa's got a track and he's going to hit the wall, I think. He has hit the wall. Massa's car is badly damaged. As he was trying to lap the back marker, Mianco Massa dropped it at the chase, and he's hit the barrier, and he'll be in the pits at the end of this lap for sure. Can't get the car turned in. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Got into pit road now, but yeah, that's going to lose him time horribly. Lost 2 cars from this race now. So what a shame. He was running well. He was up there in 4th position before he had that clout with the wall. Now the VRL racing's in the and as we speak about the incident itself, Ben Milden's just joined me now. His teammate who's coming up there in 3rd place for the SPR team. How did you see it, Ben? What did you see?
From behind my chair. Obviously I'm just spotting for Sean at the moment, and as soon as I saw what was in front of him, I just shouted brake. I think we scrubbed off a bit of speed and just went through the middle of it all, but from looking at the other streams it looks like the Audi of Bellingham lost it, and the Merc of Vondratek couldn't avoid it all, and then as the cars were bouncing around it took off 2 or 3 other guys as well, so it's split the race in half to be fair.
Yeah, it has, and that obviously gave quite a handsome lead to Craig Law and the French Connection team. I can tell that maybe they're just taking it easy at this stage with it being so dark out on circuit. How does that change your thoughts now for the championship? Because you went into this one leading it. You'd have thought that High Octane Racing or any of the other teams would have taken advantage of trying to reduce the gap, but now it all seems to be falling to your favour again.
Yeah, we were just talking about that actually. Yeah, we have the same strategy for all these races, really. Just take it easy in the early stages, see what happens. I literally just said to Sean, take it easy, because we're in a line, there's nowhere to go, and then obviously that happened. So the strategy is always just to run our own race sort of thing, and if people mess up then we'll just gain positions that way, but there's no point attacking people early in the race.
So what's your strategy going forward then? What's the plan with you and Sean? Is Sean going to do maybe like 45 minutes and then you do the next 45 and then a repeat of it? Or
it's always difficult to talk about it because I might have our friend Will listening in, but the original plan was to go with 120 litres and go a long way, but I think we're going to go basically 45 minutes. Maybe we might take tyres, we might not. We're just going to see how the car feels at that time. So it's the same as Donington, really.
Yeah. So is it the same as Donington in terms of the tyres falling away on the track like this? Because it is a permanent racetrack, I suppose.
It's less abrasive than Donington because it's Donington's got more stop-start and acceleration zones. So this is much easier, I think, on the tyres. And
you know, we're only 20 minutes into the race so far, and obviously it's dark. I mean, do you feel like the darkness has played a role in that accident involving Bellarmine and Vondratek? Because obviously there was nothing Vondratek could do about it, and I'm sure there was nothing of malice from Bellarmine's part either.
Well, yeah, looking on the old boards, you don't actually see the cars until you're on them. So if it hadn't been for me shouting at Sean to brake, he couldn't see it ahead. He just saw a yellow flag, so it could have been anywhere on the track. So as soon as I shouted at him, he managed to scrub off enough speed that he could just find a way through. But he still went past the cars, probably about 100 mile an hour. It's just, you know, you can't come to a stop. So we just got really lucky, to be honest with you. Can't say it's skill. We just got through the middle of it all. But looking at AMS and people like that, they weren't so lucky. AMS got pinned against the wall by the car that had stopped, the pink Mercedes. So he sat there for like 20 seconds. Yeah. So unlucky for him.
Who's your main battle with then? Because you went into this round 24 points clear over your nearest rivals. Obviously, the Superhotch Racing team are quite far back, as our Virtual Racing League in this race. The French Connection team are the next team, you'd have to say, are your sort of rivals for the championship. What do you think really is the primary target from this race then? What are you thinking?
Primary target's podium. Obviously, you'd like to win a race, being as this team's for ESSA, and that our goal is to win the series for him, really, in a car that he drove to an SBR championship or FRL championship for SBR. So that would be the ultimate goal, is just to win the championship, and podiums will probably do that. So we're sitting pretty right now. That's where we want to really finish. So
excellent. And of course, we've got the 4 hours of Spa, which unfortunately I won't be around for. But how are you feeling for that one, as well as doing this one here at Mount Panorama? Is it as tough, or is it more tough or less tough? What are you thinking?
Obviously the time is more, but the track's less demanding than this one. This one's just one mistake and you're in the pits for a minute. So with Spa, you obviously got a bit more runoff, and it's a slightly nicer track, easy to get into a rhythm. With this one, you just touch a curb in your history. So, and you can see it's not always your fault. If someone has a crash in front of you, you're out. So it's nerve-wracking. 2.5 hours to go.
I can say that Bellarmine has rejoined the circuit, albeit for, although I might have just left the server now, actually. Or I might have come back in as we speak, although the game is sort of it can glitch itself sometimes. Anyway, I'll leave you to it, Ben, and continue to support your teammate Sean as he's continuing on in 3rd place, and the best of luck to you both.
Yep, thanks for doing the comms as well, Tom. Really appreciate it, mate.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Sean Cole running in 3rd place then, 1.5 seconds behind the 2nd place VRL Racing team of Zdenek Vorthal, who's running in P2. Just coming on to the back marker ahead of him, which looks like the 415 of the 1 second slower car, which is in the hands of the German of Robert Berger, who's taken over from Arkadiusz Michalka, who was in the seat. Yeah, you have to feel for Svonček, who was involved in that accident with Tom Bellarmine. He joined the circuit. There's Bellarmine in the pits at the moment. He's well and truly out of the action now, that's for certain. It's just a matter of... He may decide to rejoin the circuit. It's very early days in the race, and we could well see a number of mistakes from many of the other drivers. See Blims go through. Can Mikowski made mistakes somewhere? Not 100% sure, but either way, Blims is up there in 6th position. Demin van der Waal has taken over from Ray Thomas in the Superhotch Racing car now. They've got a mountain to climb in this race, but having said that, running in 19th position, with there being less cars running tonight than we have seen in the previous rounds, it may give them more of a chance to get back into it, should luck fall on their side. Kamil Mikowski for BV Racing done well to avoid the incident involving Bellarmine and Svonček. Imagine there's going to be some stern words after the race for sure. I know I keep reiterating my point, but that's just, you know, that's just racing sometimes for you. It's the nature of it, especially when you put so many hours into it, particularly in darkness, knowing what could potentially happen. Sometimes drivers get complacent, sometimes drivers get very worried in terms of what could happen up ahead. That's completely out of their control. Nothing they can do about it. Had a spin further back. Is that the 29 that's had a spin? I'm just trying to have a look to see what's happening. It's Schmitz who's had a spin at Skyline. I think he's hit the wall. Likelihood that he has. Let's just have a look on his onboard. Oh yeah, he's hit it big time. You can see the windscreen is smashed, and I'd imagine he'll be back in the pits shortly. Solomon has left the server. That is High Octane Racing Team's championship hopes gone this season. And I'd imagine it'll be the same for I was going to say VR Racing, but I'm getting almost mixed up between them and the Virtual Racing League team. Zdenek Sick, understandably, as he's pointed out in the chat, very, very displeased. Got 21 still going from the 24 that started. Charlie Smith, who's running in 21st place, 5 laps down apparently, but at least he's still going. French Connections lead is 13 seconds over VRL Racing in P2. Schmitz is back in the pits. It's in the pits anyway. I don't know if he has already pitted, but Sean Cole running in 3rd position. Robinson up to 4th place now ahead of Aldori. Robinson having a good race so far. Mark Conway be in the car at some point during the course of tonight. See in the background, skies are beginning to brighten up, which is good news for the drivers. They knew it was going to brighten up at some point, but a matter of when that was going to be the case. Past 5:30 AM at the track. Three of C Racing squad with Charlie Smith at the wheel. I wonder if he may give seat to teammate Austin Wilson, who chance to drive the car yet tonight, as far as I'm aware anyway. Nick Landon, who, despite pitting at the end of the opening lap for damage, is back up there in 17th place now. It's an 18 seconds behind Harrison Parrish. Nick, haven't spoken too much about him tonight. He's running up there in 15th position. It's like Cameron Mikowski's lost a place because Dan Naisbitt has got through ahead of him. In terms of the news with Mianco Massa, who is clout with the wall earlier on, his teammate is back in the pits. I'm not sure what's going on with involving him. It's been a disaster of a race so far. Yeah, damage on the Team M&M car again. It's not been a good race for them tonight either. See a battle going on between Naisbitt, McCoskey and Piladetto Neto. They are coming round. Part. This is the corner where Bellarmine had his off and took Vonchacek with him as he joined the circuit. Neto, who's kept his car clean so far. Had the best start to the season, it has to be said. 28th at Imola, 17th at Donington. 17th at Donington wasn't too bad, actually. They're having a better time of it here. So far, anyway. Looks like Smith is back in the pits again, so I wonder if this could be game over for the team. Came in as a reserve squad for tonight. We've had a number of teams absent for this evening. Drivers anyway. See. Oh, there was a little clout with the wall there for the detonator. They won't want to be doing that too many times. Oh, and who's that? That's not Mikowski, is it? Oh, it is. Has he had a clout with the wall? Let's have a look at his windscreen. Appears to be okay at the moment. I think it's just, his handling's terrible. He runs wide at first elbow, yeah. I think he's had a clout with the wall as Camel. Try and get back into a rhythm, but yeah, I think the bonnet's damaged. I can see by the way the bonnet is flapping as he's going on the straight there. Not surprised if he comes into the pits at the end of this lap. It's going to be for Camel. Well, he decides to stay out for now, which is fair. Huge cushion over Victor Christensen, Feinberg Racing Team. Front of that car, it's somewhat damaged. Oh, that's a mistake from Paladetta Neto on the exit of Hell's Corner. He was able to regain it. That's going to give Mikowski a chance to get into the slipstream and get back through again. Trying to keep the car on circuit, it's finding it hard at the moment. Sorry, on the back of Robinson now, in the fight for 4th place. And Robinson's decided to let him go through, which is interesting. Made a mistake. Let's have a look. He's on board. Looks to be okay so far. Maybe he was just happy for Aldora to go through anyway. I think the TC Racing crew call it a day now, given all the shenanigans that they've been involved in. So down to 20 runners. We're only 36 minutes into this race. battle going on further behind between Honda BMW 21. It's Hugh Belcher. Behind him, 5-9, Blue Coyote racing car. Volta Kremer. So see a battle going on between Vanderwall. I think Vanderwall's just in front, although Berger I think is going to try and close back in and get back through. Vanderwall's had a clout with the wall somewhere too. Another race. It's turning into a nightmare for the drivers out on the circuit at this stage of the race. I think once the skies brighten more and more, they should be okay as Vanderwall comes into the pits. Berger runs wide, but continues. I think Charlie Smith's got back into the race. He's stopped on circuit again, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he calls it that. And he's in a dangerous part of the circuit there. Oh, and who's that? Let's hit the wall. Is that the 23? That's the 23 of Massa who has hit the wall as Charlie Smith is struggling to keep the car under control himself. That is a dangerous part of the circuit. He's stopping at, and he's going to become an obstacle in the moment here. I think Nick Landon's been in the walls too. He's back in the pits. Yeah, Charlie Smith, I just think needs to get back to the pits now. And the leader's coming up behind him. Breaking it all knows. Oh, and who's that in the... It's absolute carnage out there. I cannot believe it. And Jaco Vanek has been in the wall too. Unbelievable. Stopped on circuit. Struggling to get the car to nothing. And knows because there's leaders coming through. And yeah, I think he's back in the pits now. Absolute unbelievable stuff. Carnage here at Mount Panorama. Dermot van der Waal's back in the race now. Long way back. Nick London's still in the pits. Charlie Smith trying to make his way back into the pits, although he needs to be careful he doesn't get in the way of the leaders. He spun into the wall too. Yeah, he just needs to take it slowly now. Forget it, Charlie. The race is done for you. The Porsche comes back into the pits, and I think that's race over for him. I was able to avoid all of that. He has a lead of 15 seconds over the others. Law going through, but no problem. Battle raging between Blims and Babizzle for 6th place. Come. And then the car behind is the 415 of Berger, who's down a lap. Yanko Massa is back at the wheel now. BMW. So much has happened in this first hour. London's back on circuit now, I believe. 89 Mercedes AMG. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's on circuit now. It's his teammate in that car, Ryan George. He is still in the pits. That is Charlie Smith, and there's another car I think in there. That's Jaco Vanek. Been in the pits for some time after his car had taken a bad knock, although they're coming back onto the circuit now. Yanko Massa running in 15th position. Had a full grid tonight, had been well outside the top 20. He's been involved in. And ahead of him is Harrison Parish, who's got some damage to his bonnet too. Craig Law coming around to lap him. So there's a change in the pits because so Denek Vorkel has come in. Should be Robbo Vodka that'll take over. And Ahmed Al-Dori is also in. Over seat to teammate for the VRL racing team. But, so Denek Vorkel will take. So I'm looking at Ahmed Al-Dori. Ahmed Al-Dori for Race Nation, I should say. And he over to Kobe Alerts. Have a go in the seats for the time being, providing he doesn't crash the car on circuit, which will cost his team dear if he does that. Quarter of the way through this race now. So the French Connection team head in for their second win of the season. Close down the gap between themselves and SBR in the race for the title. Realistically, at the moment, it's looking going to be between those two teams. Only reduced the gap by 5 points. Passes up as well, so currently 27, or what was 27 going into the race, will be down to 22. Quiet. The R teams have finished 5th in Belgium. Champions of the inaugural ESSA28 Endurance Team Series. Voucher of which trying to lap. Just needs to be aware that Lydia is coming up behind him. Now where will he decide to pull out of the way here? Well, he's not doing so yet. Park now. Cole is just happy to sit back for the time being. So Team M&M are in the pits too, because Musser's had another skirmish with the wall. Harrison Parrish is in for a change. Got by the back marker. Way for now. I would imagine that Law is going to go all the way to the halfway point and just make the change with his teammate. Don't know how much fuel the car has got left, but it really wouldn't surprise me if he goes all the way to a one stop. Although he's coming into the pits now. Is the French connection driver, but I think he'll probably stay in the car until around half race distance before he swaps over with his teammate. It's all to play for. See another driver leave the server as well whilst we were watching Craig coming into the in pit lane. Who that driver is? Just left. Someone from quite high up in the order there as well. Lims has gone through into the lead on track. Now Vorkel has already made his first stop. And the driver I was trying to mention has come back in again, so might be Kramer actually, who's in the pits, or it might have been Parrish, not too sure. There are a lot of drivers that are out of touch with the leaders at the moment, but they could still get good points out of this juice field we have for this evening. So that Mark Conway has taken over the seat from Lewis Robinson in the FRL admin team. Tell you that Law has rejoined in front of Cull, so he's a long way ahead of him again. There's no change there, but Cull has completed his stop and he's behind Vorkel. Lims staying out there. Decide to pit in this lap. We're on lap 24 here in Mount Panorama. Huge turning point in the race occurred within the first 10 minutes. If you haven't seen it, you can go back on the stream and watch it because it was very chaotic, involving Tom Bellerman and Thomas Vonjacek running in second and third places at the time, and Bellerman spinning off the track into the barrier at McFinery Park and collecting Virtual Racing League car as he rejoined, causing absolute mayhem behind. It almost became gridlock. Seen more drivers coming into the pits at the same time. I think Vanek he had a skirmish with the wall. His windscreen's damaged again. Has, yeah. So he is not having a good race tonight. Drivers knew it was going to be a very difficult one here in Spa. Looking on the so Boucher is left the server and he's come back in again. He's back on the circuit again. He's lost connection, but he's back. At least he's back in. We're starting to see a few drivers leave the server for whatever reason or lose connection. I think Parrish has gone too. So So Fresh Sim Racing's event has lasted only short of an hour. Going out like flies. I mean, just down to 12th place now, I believe. Berger's a long way back, as is Ben, and Clark, who's back in the Team M&M car. Got damage to his machine. Superhotch Racing car's got damage to the machine. There's just so much happening at the same time. It's ridiculous. It looks like Parrish is back in the lobby now too, and he'll be out on track shortly again. Tim's continuing on. No such worries for him. Craig Law is just coming round to lap. Who that is? That is the 14th place. That is Mosty Ben for Box for Hard Motorsport. .909 going slowly on circuit. That is Nikinen, who on his first lap out of the pits has hit the wall very badly. We're already so far behind, and the 423 stopped on circuit again. Charlie Smith, what on earth has been going on with him tonight? I feel that it's time to say, do you know what, let's just call it a night. Mayhem for the drivers on circuit. I feel that Nikola Busov has taken over from Kamil Makowski in the BV Racing car in 10th place. Ray Thomas is back in the Superhotch Racing machine in the BMW. I hope he'll keep his car clean throughout. It's possible. Is that Anderson behind, or is that a car which is behind him? I think that's Clark actually, who's just trying to unlap himself from the Czech console racing car. He is allowed to do that. Very, very quick at the moment. All going slowly ahead. Tell. I'm just trying to see the C14. No, Conway's running fine. It's Blims making his way through the back markers. Lap the Fresh Sim Racing car of Reese down the Conrad Straight. Not a lot going on at the moment. I can say that Nikonen's come back onto the track now for the Vinef Racing team. Hoping for misfortunes all on the way to favour them. That Blims is coming into the pits now at the end of lap 27. 6 minutes. It's very shortly. Spin involving the 138 on track. That'll be Reese, who's had a spin. Not sure what's happened. Has he damaged the car? I wonder. Has, but he's lost time. Craig Law is back in the lead now for the French Connection team. Business as usual. Bottle is second with Sean Cole third. Ahmed Al Dori, it will go back up into 4th place. Should move up to 5th place as well. So actually, Blims has got out in front of him unless there's been a change in driver lineup. I think there is a change in the driver because I think Oleg is in the seat. Charlie Smith is still going actually. Could get very interesting because he's just unlocked. Oleg, who's just come out of the pits, can't get in the way of the leaders, and I think given all the shenanigans Smith has been involved in tonight, I think there may be a few words with him in terms of keeping the car on track, although it could be argued that the nature of this circuit is what has caught the drivers out, especially during the dark phase of this race. Darker phase of this race. Oh, and Smith is got out of shape entering the S's, but he's got away with it. But he hasn't got away with it there. Be careful because he's got 2 cars that are ahead of him in position that are trying to lap him. Starts causing carnage. That could be something for the stewards later. He's hit the wall again. Don't rejoin into the path of Mark Conway, for goodness sake. And I'm actually surprised that Charlie's actually continuing on here. Not taking any notice of those that are ahead of him in terms of laps. And to be honest, what is he fighting for? Trying to move back in front of the car. Oh, this is ridiculous now from Charlie. That was a really ill-fated attempt to get past the car, of which he was not even battling for position with. Ray Thomas has come back into the pits because he's just picked up damage as well for the Super Arch Racing team. Can't remember how many times they've done that now, but certainly not more than what Charlie Smith has done. And his teammate Tristan Wilson hasn't even had a go in the car yet either. To be honest, I wouldn't be at all surprised if they just call it a night. What is the point in going on? To be honest, pretty much every lap he's been out on the circuit, Smith has had a clout with the wall. Most laps anyway, and that's not good enough in terms of driving standards. Just shows that he hasn't practiced enough for tonight's action. Given how intense the competition is, it doesn't look like he's practiced enough for tonight's action. And if that's bad enough for him, in terms of what's happened tonight here, then what's he like on the other circuits like Spa, when the Formula Racing League goes there in a couple of weeks' time for its season finale? Law continuing to lead, 16 seconds between him and Zdenek Vorkl. Sean Cole third, and it's Ahmed Al Dori and the Scuderia ORC. Of Dennis Oleg, fifth, under threat from Mark Conway. looks like Clark is trying to get back through. Ahead of Conway. It's at least a lap behind. I think it's more than that actually. On the leaders. Look out how many cars are actually on the lead lap. Before I go to that, there is an incident involving Ryan George for lettuce swap. Not going again, but I'm sure he's hit the wall. Lewis Robinson coming in with his say on what's happened tonight. I won't go into too much into what's been said. I'll let you have a read of it, but it is not a very positive sign, and to be honest with you, I couldn't agree with him more. It has been a pretty disappointing event so far compared to the numbers of which have signed up for it. Don't know if it's the choice of circuit, the time of which the race has been done in terms of the race time, of which we went in darkness and then into sunrise. And Charlie Smith is still competing in this race, and he still hasn't given the car over to Tristan Wilson yet. And he needs to stay out of the way. Oh, he's clouted the wall yet again. Oh, don't we join? Oh, that was... Goodness me. Goodness me. How can he think he can continue racing like he has been doing tonight and not stop? I really don't know. I think if there's one driver who hasn't practiced well enough tonight, or for tonight I should say, it's him, because that's not the standards of what the Formula Racing League is after. Not by any stretch. So there's a battle going on now between Oleg and Conway for 5th place. And it looks like the Team M&M car of Clark is trying to unlap the pair of them. But he's got to be careful because Conway's trying to get through. Ooh, and I think if Clark knew he wasn't fighting for the position, he should have just stayed a bit back and just allowed the two to battle amongst themselves and then take advantage of an open door instead of trying to risk it. Tell you that Smith is coming back into the pits. I can't remember how many times he's pitted in this race, and let me have a look at how many laps he's actually done, because his standards in this race has been atrocious. He's done less than half the laps of what the race leader has done. He's like 16 laps behind. What is he trying to accomplish from this race? I really don't know. I really honestly don't know. And that's not even involving connection issues. He's just hasn't. His driving standards haven't been brilliant. Now, if you compare to those who've put their time and effort into racing like this, yes, we had the shenanigans, which was pretty much a professional racing incident, let's say, involving Tom Bellarmine and Thomas Fontaine. That is the kind of incident I'm prepared to condone, because unfortunately that's just part of racing. But when you see drivers consistently circulating around a racetrack, not knowing where they're going, clouting the wall all the time, and pitting all the time, and becoming an obstacle to the others, that it really is taking the mickey. At least we've got a battle on circuit, a genuine battle, because Conway is up the inside of Oleg into Griffin's Bend. And is this a change for position? Not quite at the moment. Conway will still keep his foot in it as they go towards the cut-in. Right on the outside. And that is a beautiful overtake from Conway. Very nicely done. Very brilliant move. Half an hour to make up. Was it half an hour? Half a minute to make up. Could well take him more than half an hour, to be honest with you, to make that up, but there you go. That's the kind of action we have tuned in to see. That's Berger in the pits for 1 second slower. I don't know if that is a genuine pit stop. Been so much happening in this race, it's unbelievable, but we'll find out soon enough when that stop is done. He's 13th place before he came into the pits. Will's coming in saying that Craig is kind of an alien. He writes to me on Discord while racing. Well, may not be an alien, he might be an octopus. He's just using more arms than what a human being would be able to do. He's got a lead of 19.5 seconds over Vorkel. Sean Cull, I can mention that he's got the fastest lap point at the present moment, which could come crucial at the end of the season. Conrad straight through sector 2. Craig Law is close to completing his 33rd lap. That car. Nice to hear from Craig after the race is over, or even after he's done his stints for this race, and hear from him in terms of how the race has gone from his perspective, on how he's seen everything from his eyes, because seen much better races than this one by any means. I'll tell you that Postle is right on the rear of Oleg in the fight for 6th position. May have lost time because of the back markers, but on the tail of the Aston Martin for sure. Two Aston Martins fighting against each other. A little bit away from those. Say that is the closest battle we've got on circuit. I would assume that Charlie Smith is not going to come back into this race anytime soon. And to be honest with you, I think given the stand of what we've seen from him tonight, I hope that we don't see him back in, because it'll be a repeat from what he was doing before. He'll probably may as well just let Tristan Wilson get some laps in, so that he's got some experience under his belt for when he does decide to compete at Spa in 2 weeks' time, should there be a vacancy available on the grid. Rather get some laps in than otherwise. fastest lap point seems to be shared at the moment between Volkel and Kull. Just looking at the times in terms of what each driver has done, it must be exactly the same time. 2 minutes 3.310 for Volkel, or for the VRL team. Kull in the SBR squad. It's the same time. So if it's the same time, that it's got to be down to when they did that lap first, in my point of view. So Sean Kull did his on lap 32. Volkel did his on lap 34. So I would want to put it down to the fact that the SBR team have that fast lap point, because they set the lap time first before the VRL Racing team did. Hopefully the lap time will be bettered later on. '19 still going at the moment. 24 that started. Is 7/10 behind Oleg through the first sector of this lap. Coming up to back markers shortly. Although someone has had a skirmish with the wall. Who's that that's had a skirmish with the wall? Let's have a look. Is that Reese who's had a skirmish with the wall? It is. His car badly damaged, horribly. Get the car turned in. Yep. It gives Nikon an opportunity to get through up a position. That'll be Reese going back into the pits. Might even do it via the pause menu, to be honest with you. If that's the case, then yeah, struggling to get the car turned in. Enough Racing squad go up to 18th. At least that's a position gained for them. More points. Craig Law continuing on. Kull close to within 2.5 seconds of Volkel in front. Just seen Reese almost rejoin the track as we watch. Seems to be out of harm's way. It's at the end of this lap for sure. Car turned in alright. 19th position. And from what I've been told is that the number 423 of Charlie Smith for the TC Racing Squad has been black flagged. So thank you for filling in me on that one, Lewis. Thank you very much. That's Lewis, part of the FRL admin team. As much as he is a driver, he is part of the admin team within the league itself. It's like Jamie Reese has stopped in the gravel track there. He's trying to get into the pit lane, but he's struggling. If he'll decide to carry on. hand the car back to his teammate. His teammate can't do the remaining distance. To get a move on, because otherwise he's going to be blocking the pit lane for those needing to come in. There's 21 going slowly on circuit. I think Boucher has had a moment as well. Coming up behind him, be careful, don't rejoin. Oh, had to find his way through that. Boucher will be in the pits at the end of this lap for sure to get some repair work done. Fall down the order as a consequence. Struggling to get the car turned in. Go to the battle for second place, because that is continuing to take shape. Sean Cole 2 seconds behind Vorkel. That Ryan George in the Litter SWAT team. He's running in 17th position. So that Mihalka is right behind Ben in the fight for 13th place. Go on board with the BMW. Get the job done on him. Not into Griffin's Bend on this occasion. Neto is behind Adam Anderson in the fight for 8th place. So that Boucher has rejoined the circuit in, I believe, his 15th, although Ray Thomas may be ahead of him. I'll have a look when they go through the first sector. Gap between Volkel and Cull has come down to half a second now, though. They complete lap 38. This occasion doesn't really need to stay. Who are about to lap Jamie Rees, who's in the BMW.